Hello and welcome to this energy deregulation training video. My name is Matt Rasmussen, and over the next several minutes I'll explain to you how energy deregulation works and what it can mean for you and your family's home utility bill. I'll even teach you how energy deregulation could affect your home bank account. You see, not only can you realize a better value on your own utility bill, but I can even teach you how to turn energy into income. Energy deregulation is actually a global phenomenon that's just reaching the United States. State after state in the United States are deregulating their utilities, allowing consumers choice where they'd never had choice before. This allows competition, and as we know, competition often leads to lower prices. For generations in most states, consumers were subjected to what's called a monopoly in regards to who they received their gas and electricity from. You see, in most states, one company controlled both the distribution and the generation of energy. Therefore, they could dictate what the price of that commodity was for the consumer. And as we know, when there's no competition, there's no reason to reduce costs. What energy deregulation did was break up those monopolies, forcing them to get rid of the generation portion of their business and still keeping the distribution. This allowed competition on the generation portion of the bill. So here's how it works. The former monopoly keeps the distribution function. You see, we couldn't really expect competing companies to come in and build pipes and wires to every home in America, could we? So the distribution stayed with the monopolies. But what happened is consumers now have choice of the generation portion of their bill. In other words, the actual commodity of energy is now open to competition, giving consumers choice where they never had choice before. So here's how it all comes together. You see those generation facilities, the ability to generate energy in deregulated states, no longer resides with your former public monopoly. Those generation facilities are now owned by independent companies. So they're no longer regulated by law, and in addition, now there's competition. Those competitors by law are allowed to put their utility services on the transmission wires of the local utility company. Those transmission wires, those pipes and wires, are still owned by your local utility company. So nothing changes there at all, except that those lines are allowed to be used by competitors that are registered with your state Public Utilities Commission. Which means for the consumer, everything remains the exact same. They have the same quality, the same reliability, the same safety. The only thing that changes is who they're actually getting the commodity portion of their bill from. If you've not made a choice, then you're by default getting it from your local utility company in your area. However, they're buying it from those third-party generation facilities anyways. So why not buy it from one of those generation companies? Now, these generation facilities are also known as retail energy providers, are listed and registered with the Public Utility Commission for your state if you're in a deregulated state. So you can go to either the state website or your utility company's website and see a listing of providers in your local area. The one thing that's important to remember is that these retail energy providers are not in direct competition with your local utility company. Here in California, we're deregulated natural gas, and the local utilities cannot generate natural gas. They buy it from these third-party generation companies. This provides a completely seamless process for the consumer, allowing the consumer to have the same reliability, the same quality. Nothing changes for the consumer except the actual price that they're paying for the actual commodity of the utility. For them, this allows a consumer choice, which if they have not exercised, then they're still with the local utility company. So it just becomes a matter of a consumer making a choice. However, on the other side, there's also an income opportunity here, where individuals can learn how to make money off of energy bills. Could you imagine turning energy bills into income? So if you want to get further information, get back to the person who introduced you to this information to either exercise your right to choice or learn how to turn energy bills into income. My name is Matt Rasmussen, and thanks for watching this educational video.